prophecies for a second. It ties into what he was just saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you go with the Bible says that the prophet, it goes into Deuteronomy, where they say, "Oh, this prophet from God." If we can get into that. But when I went to go look up I looked up in the NBA to see is any player that never missed a shot, and it was no player that never missed a shot, and there was only one player that had 1% accuracy, and his name was Ahmed. Right, and I thought about Muhammad. Right, he only shot one shot his whole career, and he hit that one shot. He was 100%. It was only one guy. Then I looked up how many people in the NBA, the National Baseball League that never struck out. Everybody struck out. It was nobody ever went to the league that never got struck out. So, and no quarterback in the NFL is 100% accurate. So, I guess this brings to my next point. And not to add to that, Babe Ruth, the same year, I think it was 1921, where he had the most home runs in that year. 1923, I think it was. He also had the most strikeouts in that same year. You know what I'm saying? But this is my question: are all prophecies 100% accurate? Are they subject to change? Or is there some stipulate? Because I don't know nobody that's 100% accurate in life. You gonna people make Go ahead.
Okay, when you're talking about prophecies, first of all, who given this prophecy? These not prophecies. The reason why they look so accurate is because they're not prophecies. They are plans, schematics, blueprints with markers to let you know what part of the conquest has been successfully completed. When you following the prophecies, you following the plans of the one who wrote the plan. But it's never the person they told you it was. Like, they give Albert Pike the credit for Morals and Dogma. Albert Pike probably 9 out of 10 didn't even write that himself.
He wasn't that intelligent. He was satanic, but he studying his work. Yeah, so it had to be a group, or they put that together, a whole group. I think the Scottish Rites.
They don't know that it be a group, but they tell you this. The reason why I say that is because the way you control information. Remember, everybody didn't know how to read. Less than 1% of the population of any society at any given time was able to read until modern times. Who was responsible for recording the deeds of the king? Do you remember?
It would be the scribes, right? His scribes?
Yeah, the scribes.
Right.
And at one point, only scribes knew how to read and write. And the king, of course, he had to learn how to be a scribe in order to be a king or a ruler. Right? Okay, now, if the only people was writing was the scribes, what about the peasants in the field? They weren't writing nothing?
Go ahead.
They was telling the stories around the campfires at night. And the stories carried on and became the oral tradition. So you got both sides of the story. The ones who wrote and the ones who told the story on what we call the hot gossip line. Right? And so we got the grid tales, and then you have your written story. The written story is the plan of those who's doing the writing. Or instructing somebody to write. That's their instruction. Now we got to figure out how to code it, right? We code it under the pretense of prophecy. But you notice the word prophet exists within the word prophecy.
Right.
But not only does the word prophet exist, the word prophet exists. So now it's tied to the banking system because the prophet got to generate profits.
Go ahead.
In order for him to maintain his 501c3 status.
Skull and bones. Oh, man.
Now, look, 501c3. Phi mean change Omega to Alpha. C is 3, and 3 is 3, which is 33. The master. It's all coded. It's in our face, behind our back.
Man.
You just don't know their language. It's all CIA, KGB, Mossad, all of the secret spy networks have access to it. That's why they pick up a newspaper. They don't see the same thing you see.
Right? They see the codes.
They pick up the paper that says man landed on the moon. You know what they see? It's an invasion about to take place in a rocky terrain in the Far East.
Yeah.
Right? We looking at the moon in an invasion. They looking on Earth in a whole nother direction. They still telling the story. They put it in your face because it ain't up to them to tell you what it means. It's up to you to figure it out. And if you don't teach yourself how to think, you'll never figure it out. And the ones that think they know how to think, but think the ones actually doing the thinking is insane, is the worst of them all because they are delusional. Mm-hmm. And they telling the whole rest of the people that the ones that doing the thinking don't know what they talking about and that they delusional, which is misdirection. The world is a stage. We are just actors.
Right.
If you don't see the misdirection, then you're going to be trapped in the illusion. David Copperfield didn't make the airplane disappear. He just made you think it disappeared. If he can make you think it disappeared, he don't have to make it disappear. Yeah. Because now you accepted that it disappeared, meaning that the illusion was successful because you didn't believe he could trick you and you got tricked.
Interesting.
That's how street times work. Three card money. The shuffle game, the 3 shells in the ball. All that's sleight of hand. That's all illusion. And some people always fall for the illusion. Yeah, trickery in the first degree. The 120 degrees of trick knowledge that Jacob gave them. Remember, they rule by trick knowledge.
Yeah.
Which is the knowledge of trickery and how to deceive.
Right.
They tell you that the devil is a deceiver. What is his greatest deception? He had to make you think that he the God you worshiping, and all the time you worshiping him.
Go ahead.
This is the greatest deception ever played on men. To make man think that man is less than what man truly is. Therefore, you can never reach your potential because you don't know your potential is as high as it is, so you limit how high you jump. Like fleas in a jar. Second generation won't jump. When you take the jar off, they won't jump higher than the leaves.
Right. That's right.
And you keep low,
like puppies.
And you keep lowering the lid, they jump lower and lower. Boy, until you can actually fall without a lid open. That's teaching you to endure suffering. Because oppression is atmospheric. You can only be depressed to the degree in which you are strong enough to take the oppression. The strongest people been oppressed the longest because they can take it the most. And that allowed the people that's in the appearance of power go through a catharsis where they can burn off all of their negativity by abusing the ones that they think is the weak ones, and all the time they ain't weak, they the strongest ones. That's why they at the bottom, because they got to hold up the system. Right. But they only got to hold it up until they get tired of holding it up. And whenever they get tired of holding it up collectively, then they just all stand up and flip the table. Right. But most of them don't know that all of the rest of them is ready to flip the table, so somebody got to tell everybody. So maybe one of the corners, one of the legs, a 7 or something, gonna start flipping around the bottom of the board to tell y'all all you gotta do is stand up. Talking to the wind, Ezekiel's army.
This might be a little Before I roll this next clip, a question. Yo. Hey, you hear me, Rod? What the heck? Oh yeah, so that's my question, man. Before we go to roll that, yeah, I can hear you.
Before we finish with the conclusion to that, so
go ahead.
All our prophecies is true to the degree in which the person responsible for executing a part of the plan executes.
Uh-huh.
And if somebody is missing from the equation, then the prophecy, like for instance, Charles Russell predicted the end of the world like 5 times. We're still here.
Yeah.
Now, he probably would have been right if he wouldn't have told nobody, they wouldn't have adjusted for it. But when he told people, they adjusted for it, which prevented it from happening.
You're here. Hey, so maybe he was supposed to kill him.
Yeah, so the prophecy is only as accurate as the person carry out their portion of the plan that leads up to the fulfillment of that prophecy. If any one person don't carry their load, it don't be accurate. But most of the time they carry their load, so the prophecy appears to be pretty accurate. And then history repeats itself. So once you see where the gap at, you know where to plug the hole. Pick the weakness in the game, you sew it up.
Hey, now this is my next question. And this might be a little thought, but I think it ties into right now. Now I saw this concert where the rapper NBA Youngboy, man, he had to have at least 70 or 100,000 young guys in there. Like everybody had ski masks on their head. And they might have got in there with the blick. They all had blicks in the car if they ain't have them on them. And then while he was rapping, they all like they was gonna leave there to go smoke somebody. Now with the power that he got, then they got him hit off in Utah with a black hand got what are they like the compounds it. They call themselves the Mormons. That's their cover name, right? But what power could he if he was to change? Or what type of control do he got, man? Like to have that many people in there jumping around like that with the ski mask on, ready to go. Like he really dangerous for our like if he was to turn on them and say, you know what, we finna go the people that so-called enslaved our people. We know that's a bunch of crap now. But he was to turn his energy and say, you know what, they watching him like a hawk, man, because he got too many control over too many young crazy dudes, man. What you think about that, right? Before we click on this next clip.
All it is a tribal faction that's following their leader.
Okay.
Right? The leader don't want to go the conscious route because of Tupac. They don't want to end up like Tupac. So they'll spit that crazy stuff that the industry want them to spit to allow them to get the spotlight on them. But when you talk to them, you'll find out that most of them ain't crazy as they be acting.
That's right.
But sometimes you got to play the fool to catch a sucker. Right? So when you seem dumber than your mark don't feel threatened enough to have to remove you. If he was to turn around right now and start doing the same thing Tupac was doing, or KRS was doing in the 80s, right? He wouldn't last a good 6 months before he ended up like Charlie Kirk.
Some people say they out
because they told him. If you have an industry contract, they tell you that if you don't follow this contract, there's consequences.
That's right.
And the consequences may directly affect you, which means you might die, or somebody close to you, and the world gonna think you sacrificed them.
Yeah.
It is sacrifice. As in the case of Kanye, he didn't sacrifice his mama like people think. They killed his mama because he was the value they was trying to exploit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he tried to go and do this Kanye thing, you know how Kanye is. We all know how he is. We've been watching it. You can't go do your Kanye thing. You under this contract.
Right.
Right? I don't care about your contract. I'm finna do my Kanye thing. Right? And as soon as he decided that he was going to disregard that contract,
boom.
Bye-bye Donda. So he becomes so disgruntled, they try to shut him up. Repeals, mental health crisis is publicized to the public, handlers, right?
Right.
Gave him the appearance, the public persona of the rich nigga.
Right.
Right? So he had it all, but he ain't free.
Right.
And what he turned around and told us not too long ago, I don't want none of it if I can't be free.
Go ahead.
I'd rather be free than have all the money. That's what he said after he lost that was it Balenciaga deal? Those rules that were taking stuff. Was it Balenciaga?
He made a tweet where he said he lost. He was talking about a tweet that he got off of. I can't remember what company that was. It was a multi-billion-dollar deal. He lost it from making a tweet.
That was for the shoes.
Okay.
That's for the shoes, the Yeezys. I think it was, I forgot who Yeezy were going through. I think Reebok. Anyway, he lost those deals because he'd rather be free than be paid to shut the F up while his people were struggling.
Right.
The problem is we don't know how to read Crazy Horse energy. Because if we knew how to read Crazy Horse energy, we would know exactly where Kanye coming from and what he's trying to tell us. We supposed to learn it off Old Dirty Bastard. He was to teach us the Crazy Horse energy, how to read it. Right? It's a couple more of them, but it was the lead Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse is a frequency and it's a cover. It's a protection, a spiritual protection from the tribes. Sitting Bull is a title, right? And it literally refers to the bull who sits on his post. He's sitting down on his post. He figuring he's a bull. He can't be moved.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So all of these titles comes with encoded energies that the tribes can use. If we learn how to read Crazy Horse, it's like ODB say, shame on her for trying to run game on him. And he said, wait a minute, let me tell y'all what I'm talking about so y'all will know what it means. Then he went sober as a preacher to describe it. Yeah. And then he went back to shame on her, right? Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
You got to know when to see. Young Pharaoh went through the Crazy Horse energy phase, where he used the Crazy Horse energy to break from under the pressure of being put under the spotlight. We sat here and watched him, and we all called him crazy, except for me. I laughed. You're crazy. You know exactly what he's doing. Right? Because the Crazy Horse energy is used to get information past the enemy, in the enemy face. Right? So, the example, one day he was telling the story, and they were saying he was crazy during this time. And when he telling the story, he looked back to his baby mama and say, am I lying? And she was like, nope, that happened. That's Crazy Horse bouncing it off a sane individual that was present, that's verifying that he ain't as crazy as we think he is.
Mm-hmm.
because the story that he's telling actually happened, but he's telling it in an animated way that makes him sound unhinged. But the girl verified the whole story sitting right next to him. Crazy horse energy. Once you know how to read it, you know how to read it.
We're gonna roll that next. Now to confirm some of that stuff, because they was on the news the early morning I was watching when Virginia and Donald Trump was on there. I think it was the Virginia governor. They made a lot of arrests on child trafficking rings. They didn't bust so many, even in my state, but in Virginia, they just recently bust like it was in the thousands of children that were being trafficked just in Virginia.
And a lot of that is not reaching public exposure nationally. It's local exposure to a lot of those cases. And you had like 7 different sting operations in Florida alone that netted at least 100 and some perpetrators and untold amount of children. Right? Then you had one in Texas.
Yeah.
There's a couple of most states, California, they had a big trafficking ring bust out there too. I think it was one in Arizona as well. But see, I told y'all, they got us under the misdirection that there's animosity between the Russians and the Americans. It's not. Right? It's just that now the earth is split into the emerging regime, which is what you've seen going on in China. When you've seen those heads of state over there with the President Xi of China. Right? And then at the same time, Trump was meeting with the European powers in D.C. Right? That's the old world and the new world both showing you, because it was like 2 or 3 days after the Chinese military parade that had these world leaders over there that the internet shift happened. Everybody just switched over to the new system.
Yeah.
Like over a billion people. Right. So what they telling you, everything they're just telling you everything that I've been saying over the last 5 years that people call me crazy for, and they make these videos that update you, and everything that I was saying is in them videos.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes they don't believe it when it comes from somebody that look like us, because the people behind the scenes look like us and they always lying to us.
Yeah.
We don't know who to trust. So you got to come up with an independent third party. Now they're using AI because AI can download the information from multiple sources faster than a regular person.
Yeah.
Right? And then they can tell the story. It's all coming out because youth is learning to control how AI respond to their questions in order to get the truth out. And once they learn how to do that, it's over with, because it's telling them everything that crazy Rod Hayes and Young L have been saying.
Hey, Rod, Lady C said, go ahead. You was done.
Yeah, so we've been saying this 4-5 years, and now AI is telling people stuff that we said that we was called crazy for.
That's right. That's right. Lady C say, what can she find these videos? Where did you get the videos, the clips from, Rod?
This YouTube. These came off of a Facebook page, and somebody shared them with.
Somebody said so DC is closed, and they're closing all the stores down here in Georgia. I know DC being that already closed down.
Yeah, most of the state buildings ain't been functional since 2018 or 2019. Yeah. They all been closed down. They starting to dismantle the Federal Reserve building.
Yeah,
I got that report. I got that report a couple days ago. You know, so we watching it, but a lot of people ain't understanding. In the video before that, it mentioned the tunnels under the Vatican and the 650 planes that was flying from the Vatican. And then they mentioned that it was another site. The other site was the intelligence site. The gold was at the Vatican. And they had more gold in Switzerland. And you see how he went into the Swiss bank over in Basel, then to another part of Switzerland, Zurich. Right? That's where the central banks was funneling their money and storing it up. That's why they said they found storages of wealth, of stolen wealth. They stole it from us. Right. Nobody's supposed to be poor.
It's like you say, like now that you see that Africa cut all of the vampires off from stealing from their country, they building up their country. Look like it, like to the future now. They got the internet started. It's pretty much like as they got left to themselves, they growing like they ain't nothing. But once we get to left to ourselves, it'll be the same over here. We'll rebuild and build it up to the future. You know, over here.
The good thing about over here is the majority of the people over here, no matter what they look like, they want to see prosperity over here. They came here to experience prosperity.
Right.
So if they see us building our cities up like Dubai, everybody gonna want to help.
Right.
Right. And this is gonna tear down a lot of the divide and conquer barriers that they gave us. Skin color, political affiliation, who your favorite rapper. Ain't none of that stuff gonna matter because we're gonna be too busy building for the future and understanding the need to build a promising future for the children.
Right.
Right. So it's just gonna be a whole different environment.
Some people they also said in that video that certain countries that they can escape to, that these guys that's gonna be a part of the mass arrest, that these countries are denying, saying, "No, we don't want your money. You can't come over here and hide." So what they gonna run and hide to if the countries that you can go to get immunity or whatever, they ain't gonna have nowhere to hide these guys.
It was a song back in the 60s that said, "Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide." Ain't nowhere they can go because you got to remember the whole earth is under satellite surveillance.
Go ahead.
If you leave, if you got your cell phone with you, you got a tracker. Right? So you can't take your cell phone, you can't take your laptop because you got a tracker. You can't drive your car because you got a tracker. So we don't be knowing this stuff. They be doing and using it all the time in criminal investigations, but they don't want you to know that they use it.
Right, especially FBI. High-ranking agents. All right, we'll roll that.
And now we got jealous girlfriends that put air tags in our bags and in our pockets, and the government follow us through the air tag that she put on us, and she don't even know she working for them. Agent effect.
Wow. It's chairman. He resigned, and they taking it down.
Fired.
Yeah, they fired him pretty much. Yeah,
he was first in the history. But this go back to what I told y'all a long time ago. The Federal Reserve was actually shut down in 2017 with a cease and desist order from printing U.S. currency. Now they were supposed to roll out the new currency. I think that's the next video. The new currency was stalled by Congress. So they had to use the BRICS nations to dam the dollar back to the United States because they're going to have to either reduce the inflation rate. because the currency is diminishing, or they're gonna hyperinflate, right? Because the currency is losing value. So it got two ways they can play it. Start relieving the pressure off the dollar by backing back prices, or over saturate the value of the dollar by artificial means, which creates an increase in prices, right? So the deep state, the ones who was in control, that's fighting on their way out, they're not going to stop fighting until they're gone. So you don't see activated sleeper cells and all that until they're done, right? And they gotta find a Jason Bourne sleeper, because the Jason Bourne sleeper is the only one that can peacefully wake up the rest of the sleepers so they don't follow the protocol. And the government got a good idea of where that agent is, or they might even have him in custody. But the purpose is to activate or to awaken the sleeper cells without them being activated to commit atrocious acts. Right? So they've been running tribunals in Gitmo. And remember, they just opened up Alligator Alcatraz in Florida. Those are for international criminals. Remember, the Russian sub came into the Cuban Bay. They was dropping prisoners off. Remember when we were talking about that about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And they was dropping prisoners off, and everybody thought it was going to be some kind of hostilities between America and Russia, but they working together. Right? They was working together to catch the whole deep state operation. Because Russia tired of being smeared over here and used as the boogeyman to manipulate the people. So they were willing to work with Donald Trump and the military to change their image in the eyes of America, but first they can't change it too fast. The whole operation got to be ran first, where they work together in order to save Earth from an imminent threat from other places.
Right.
That goes all the way back to Ronald Reagan's Union speech on Operation Star Wars.
Right.
Right. The only thing that's going to bring us together is the threat from somebody from outer space. That stop us. We put our petty differences aside at a moment's notice from an inside threat. Right. So it's not new. None of it's new. But again, it's not a prophecy, it's a plan. Right? Bush told you their plans was to 1,000 points of light. That's 1,000 points they was using to contain the Earth. So then that tell us that we have to find 1,000 points of chaos to operate from in order to disrupt 1,000 points of light. But we ain't supposed to use chaos. They don't want us to use chaos. They want us to think it's the most violent, wicked thing that we can use is the chaos. But we need the chaos because everything came out of the chaos, the dark matter, the Shakti. Right? So they use those patterns cyclic over and over again. And that's because they don't know how to come up with nothing new on their own, so they keep doing the same thing they already know. Roll point out.
I got you. It's a short. The last one, couple ones was real short. Just confirmed it too. Just confirmed that hey, they gonna try to do chaos as they go out. It's the walls are closing in on them. Another
that's what they commonly call that. A false flag, but it's not a false event. It's just that the narrative wrapped around it is control the collective consciousness that make it a false flag.
Right.
They will let 1,000 people die for their agenda to be pushed forward. Right? You see that in 9/11.
Yep. Yep.
Remember we talked about we did a whole show on why we don't believe the out of Africa theory.
Yeah.
And remember I was telling you we show artifacts that was older than anything they found in Africa today.
Yeah.
Over here. Right? And we found bloodlines and DNA stock from over here that's older than Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they keep trying to tie us back to Africa, but our roots keep digging deeper and deeper into the Americas.
Right.
You know, remember? Really, a matter of fact, you had called me and you were like, yeah, you got to explain this, and this is what it is.
Yeah, and like some way we put it together because we was thinking that, hey, somebody had to ride that camel back over there 6 billion years ago. That's a long time ago, though. 6 billion years, based on what the dates they giving us. They talking about 50,000 years over in Africa. These people have been around over here 60 billion years, riding camels. So like something ain't right. Why would they? What like I got my own perspectives on why, but what would be the perspective on making us think that hey we wasn't over here, we was in? I got my perspective. We probably already said this 10,000 times, but what's the purpose of switching us around?
If you don't know you from the land, you got no claim to the land.
Go ahead.
If they can disassociate you from the land, somebody else can come in and say, since they don't want it, you can give it to me.
Right.
Right. It's about the blood and the right. We got the blood and the right, which make us the righteous. Right. So in the whole, we gotta remember, we went over the father of history in European was a Greek. The father of history in the European narrative. And he's the point by which the story is being told, and he got his information from Kemet. Right? I think it was Aristotle, Socrates, one of them. One of them Greek philosophers are classified as the father of history. So the Eurocentric history is predicated upon the Afrocentric origin of Eurocentric history. When they started that narrative, they hadn't discovered over here yet. So from them tracing their knowledge base back, they trace it back to Africa. Therefore, everything had to come out of Africa. That's called deductive rationalization. But that's because the X or the unknown variable is the Americas at the time that the out of Africa philosophy was being developed by Greek philosophy. Mm-hmm. So there's no way they don't have no answer for the Americas because they don't trace their history or their knowledge source outside of Kemet. Right? When they all graduated from their universities on the island of Crete, they sent them to Kemet for priest training. So when they tracing it back, that's Northeast Africa. So if that's Northeast Africa, then you got the Gaza Strip leads around the Mediterranean going into Turkey all the way up into Europe. Once you get there, you follow a migration path. When they burned the library down in Alexandria, they went underground tunnels to Gaza. Then they went underground tunnels into Europe in order to drop all of the manuscripts off in the Vatican, which becomes the Vatican Library. All that's been seized.
Man, I'm gonna do this tape. I got this tape coming out that I'm gonna do live. Where I got all these clips of the maps being switched around, where it show a lot of the names of lands they saying that's over Middle East or other places that them land masses is over here before 1902.
Yeah, a guy sent me a clip. Brother was going over an old map from like the 1300s, like the 1500s.
Yeah.
And it had in South America, it had Africa.
Yeah, I saw a map with that on it too. I saw a map.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I got a clip.
Yeah. So when you think that before the continent they call Africa, there was Africa because there was Ethiopia on that map. So that was Ethiopia, and Africa was in modern day Brazil.
I also saw a map. Go ahead. I also saw a little map. The same thing. Go ahead.
The region in modern day Brazil. So then, where did the African slaves really come from? See, Africa wasn't in Africa to the 1800s. So slavery was in the 1500s, and they bringing people from Africa, and the only place Africa on the map that predate the continent being called Africa, and it got Africa in Brazil. Where is they bringing us from? One part of our land to the other part of our land.
I got a map from 1902 that shows Africa being with Tennessee and but Memphis and all that's it. Like Memphis leading up to Cal, it got Africa on the map right there in America in a map from 1902. Yeah, well, Cairo, Illinois, and Memphis. Yeah, I got a map that says 1902 Africa right there.
So the people that make maps are what's called cartographers.
Uh-huh.
And they used to share maps with each other. And this is how sailors and navigators knew where they was going.
Mm-hmm.
The cartographer was critical to the understanding of the terrain.
Okay. Let me run that next one then. We getting close to that time. Go ahead.
And I was talking about the financial things that actually took place back in July. Some of that stuff we reported on when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there's a phase of the banking process that still got to be flipped, but they doing they got to do the rollout of the causation first, which would be the corruption that they pull out as arrest announced to the public. Who was arrested for what?
Right.
Once you get that out, then you can, a lot of bankers is involved in that. So when they expose the bankers, they'll say this is why we switching the currency, because the bankers have been counterfeiting and inflating the dollar artificially, because if you print money and you're not the United States Treasury, it's called counterfeit.
Right.
Law. So the Federal Reserve was printing currency as if they were the Treasury. Right? Because they was executing the lien by the Crown of England and the Vatican upon the American people for the Civil War. So they would start printing the money in order to pay back the debt on the 3-time bankrupt United States at the time. And it since went bankrupt like 3 other times. Every time you see where they said that there's no money, we can't make the budget, and then they had to shut the government down, that's a whole bankruptcy conclusion. Right. So we watched all this stuff happen, and we still don't know what we was looking at while we was watching it. Because they keep distracting us with chaotic events. They release the information about the other event. It's all it is a sleight of hand.
Right.
Don't take your eye off the ball. Boom, where'd the ball go? Right? So they using trickery, but they still giving the disclosure at the same time. Like they didn't already announce, it's just a matter of time before they tell us that the Obamas is in custody. Hillary in custody. They already been dealt with since 2018, 2019. But they gotta tell it to us though. So now since they done used all this central casting nonsense, Now they have to do the theatrical grand finale, the closing scene. It's the setup for the comeback on the other end of the movie.
Right. Right, to end them.
But the sequel is a sequel. How did we get here?
Right.
Crazy.
Roll that next one, and it's like a short one. So that'll be good. But yeah, she dropping it. She dropping it right there, bro.
Yeah, so that's why. Remember, I was telling everybody that they can bring in the other branches of the military under control of the National Guard. So she was just going over all of the stuff that we had been going over the last year and a half. Right? And they telling the same story, just condensed. Put another face on it, maybe they'll believe it.
Yeah, so all them judges wasn't they hadn't sworn to the Constitution. They weren't Article 3 judges. So all of them will commit fraud. All them judges commit fraud.
Yeah. Now you gotta remember bar members. The bar member, part of the bar member oath is that you take no other legal oath that supersedes your membership to the bar.
Right.
It's loyalty to the king that traced back to the first charter where they told him to use the law to take everything from us.
Yeah.
And that's why it's those court bearer bonds that they use to put the lien on you are so valuable. And that's why they always want you in court. Right? You give me a fine, but you got to wait 60 days to get sentenced so you can pay the fine. Then you forget to show up in court because it's just a $200 fine, and then they put a warrant out for you, so you got to bind out all over again. Now they kept that bond and opened a new bond.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all playing the game. And they're playing the odds, playing the numbers.
Right.
Right? For every 10 people that you tell them what the fine is, but they got to wait 60 days to get sentenced, for every 10 of them, 4 of them gonna forget. It's not important. You already settled out what it's gonna be. Right. But then when they get the warrant, it's a rude awakening. Then you gotta start all over, pay it all over again.
Right.
Because the bond you put up before been seized.
That's ransom.
Yeah, trickery in the first degree. So that video, I think, was like a year and something old, and it was giving us the layout for what the delay was with the new currency, which is also tied to several other things Dr. Kia talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you're looking for, what are the delays, you're seeing what the delays is. So you gotta remember, over 60% of your Congress don't have an oath of office.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that don't have an oath of office, you can go look up your local congressman and see if they got an oath of office on file. If they don't, they either central casting or they deep state.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's crazy. Hey, y'all, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, man. Hey, y'all know we want to keep Roy out the place, off the plantation. So the little bit of donations that we send them, it help them out to keep them from having to go deal with them. We want them watching these guys 24/7. So if you can show them some love, we got 2,800 people on, man. Everybody send them $5. That'll put them in the game, all the way in the game. If you really a cool cat, send them 100. If you can't do that, send them $1, man. That dollar go a long way. If 1,600 people send them $1, that'll put them in the game. Hey, y'all. You want to take like 2 or 3 questions before we get out of here, Rod?
Let's do that.
Huh?
Let's do that.
All right. Hey, y'all. Drop some questions in the chat. We'll take 2 or 3 questions before we get up out of here, y'all. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It's all unfolding. It's all unfolding right now before your eyes. Somebody said, "What did he say? Central casting or what? What is?" Somebody asked, "What is central casting?"
Central casting is company that provides crisis actors.
Mm-hmm.
They also provide actors for political satire.
Mm-hmm.
They use the term satire because that's theater, and so when they put somebody up for political satire, they're playing a role as a politician.
Mm-hmm. Right here it says just saying. Right.
So tonight, a little while ago, when I looked up and saw the moon just appear, oh no, you wasn't tripping. The moon can turn the lights off on it where you can't see it. They could go in full stealth mode, and then they're gonna tell you it's an eclipse.
So how do we divide without military? How do we take our land back?
It's happening in real time. They're gonna give it back. You don't have to do nothing.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
The same way they use the cat's paw to take it, we can use the cat's paw to take it back. So the size of the moon, so the question is, so if the moon is a ship, how do they do moon magic? For the longest time, the women couldn't control the energy of the moon and its effect on their body. Over time, because it affects them and because the size of the moon and the force that it puts upon the planet, it puts an energy connection from the earth to the moon. Once you learn the frequency is coming on, then you can harness the energy in order to perform your haircut magic, moon magic, lunar magic.
Mm-hmm. Shout out that boy Jedi for the super chat, man. Says, where do we? This is the last one right here, bro.
Where do we find, or how do we find our tribal courts? You can go on Google and type in tribal courts, and they got a whole bunch of tribal courts that's all over the land.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hard to find. They just that we don't utilize them. But right now, the smartest thing for us to do would be to unify our tribal courts to take the place of the current court system so they can arrest all of the judges. But we don't have that kind of unity yet where we would be effective enough in bringing them together. We don't have that unity, so we just got to wait till they take the whole system down in order for us to wake up to activate our system correctly.
And for the person that asked about the Cash App, I got it on the screen for you. So the Cash App is Skype 8 right here, right? And if you can't get it on the Cash App, somebody asked about, do you got Villa? I mean, what's that? Is it Villa? Vivo?
I have Cash App and PayPal. I just started with PayPal, so that was relatively new.
All right. Well, on that note, says the moon follows me everywhere and star planets. Why would that be? Who controls the moon? Does the moon follow me everywhere?
When you have the moon following you, it's just that your attention is locked onto the moon. The moon is not like actively following one individual. But the energy that you feel from it is reaching you wherever you in the proximity where you can see it. Mm-hmm. And it gives you the impression that the moon is following you. But it's not actually following you. It's that you locked on to the frequency of the moon as you move about to a high enough degree where you recognize that connection.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'll take this last question there, Roy. It says, like, so when we go on the court, if somebody go on the court, and we know all these people fraud, continuing this.
breaking up.
Continue to send people through this fraud, you know.
Look, they're gonna continue to do it until they shut down.
They keep on chopping us up. Maybe that's IQ. They chopped us up pretty good. When we on their behind, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, it's like they should have knew it was inevitable. Like Agent Smith said, it's inevitable. This shit, what's happening now was inevitable. How long they think they was gonna keep this charade, this false narrative going, man? How long they think they had about 200 years to roll this thing, man? That's it. That's a
6,000-year conclusion. So what this is all tied to at the root, England was given 2 sharks to collect as much gold as he could,
right,
in order to settle the conflict that he had with his brother Inky.
Right.
In the course of the 2 sharks, if he was to win Earth by conquest, by military conquest, and the only 2 ways you can win: surrender or total annihilation.
Right.
So they tried the total annihilation first. It didn't work. Because we baby kids, we don't die, we multiply.
Right.
So they tried to disassociate us from our birthright by telling us we from different places. Right?
Yeah.
And that way we would surrender our birthright. But because only one of us needed to be aware of their birthright and their blood ties to the land and their heritable authority to reclaim it and put it in the public domain. And right at the close of the second Shah, this is how the devil got 6,000 years to rule. The same as we took the settlers, the war in the war 1812, they gave them an extension. It's still aligned with the 2012 calendar of the cycle, where the second Shah would conclude, which was 2012. So now, in the aftermath, 13 years later, notice the number 13, we get the final cleanup in a 9 year. Right? So Big Mama's birthing the new age. 13, Queen Mother seals the queen of the mother of the king, not the queen. And she blessed the king, and the king comes through and cleans up the BX. Put the new world in order.
All right, bro. I think that's it. We're gonna go and get up out of here. Y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We're gonna be back to keep you updated. Right? It was one more somebody had dropped that was kind of like a good question though. I don't see it no more. Yeah. Hey y'all, we gonna be back. Hey, yeah, that's what it was. Hey, Young, shout out Young. Hey, Young, you Chata. Hey, if you want to trace your ancestry or history, we got a playlist in the Native American Chief file called "Tracing Your Ancestry or History" Part 1 through 6. If you watch those tapes, it's got all the last names and facial recognitions and tribe and the tribal maps, right? That can probably help you get get a start going, because we connected a lot of dots in those Tracing Your Ancestry or History tapes. But based on what I already researched, Young ties in with the Chata, especially if you're from Louisiana, Mississippi. If you're Young down from Louisiana, Mississippi area. If you're Young from Alabama, you could be the Creeks. And then you got some Youngs that's up north. They depends on what part you at, what part you from. Because some of the Youngs came from Mississippi. They were Chata. They moved because a lot of people migrated from Mississippi to Chicago, right? And then mixed in with the Shinnecock people that was already up there. So yeah, we're gonna leave you on that. Hey, Rod, we'll be back with another one. Hey, y'all, like I say, if you want to show Rod some love, we left the Cash App on the screen. Everybody send him $1, man. That'll put him in the game till the next time we get back on. What else I want to say? You got any more announcements before we get out of here, Rod?
No, we covered a lot of ground, a lot of territory today.
Yeah, it's 2 hours. We 2.5 hours in. All right, y'all. Peace and love. Free all the political prisoners. Free the master teacher Dr. Malachi Z. York. Free. We still working on Larry to get out. Trump already made the play. Still waiting on Illinois, right? Free H. Rap Brown. Free Jeff Fort. Chief Angel Malik Bay, right? The L. Rookin. Big Mama's baby's about to get ready to come home. All the Chiefs about to get ready to walk. If you see what's going on now, you can feel that all the Chiefs, because COINTELPRO operations was illegal. The stuff that they did to us was they in there by on illegal content.
My name on there, no introduction needed. You already introduced me.
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm important, but I ain't important enough to keep introducing me redundantly.
You're important anytime I'm in the supermarket and I see an African brother, and I say to the African brother, we got our heads coming up. So he said, "Oh, I'm on it. I'll be there. I'll be there tonight." They know you in Africa, okay? So anyway, we're gonna get started, and it's been information that I've been wanting to hear, and this is what the first question that I want to ask you. Okay, well, we got to start off with what we're talking about, and then that's your predictions, the things that you predict for 2025 and going forward with the new president and the fact that eggs, 1 dozen done went up now to $7. So what do you predict for us in 2025 for the original American people?
And that's the end of my predictions. I don't make predictions, but I can tell you what I see.
That's what I'm talking about. What's your revelations?
Well, the reason why I don't do predictions is people be trying to say he a false prophet if something don't align exactly how I say it. But so far, everything I've been saying is not that I'm prophesying or I'm predicting the future. It's that they telling us ahead of time what they gonna do. I just know how to read their codes. So far, what we have on the table, the Federal Reserve is gone. The United States Treasury bought the assets of the foreclosed Federal Reserve out of the bankruptcy of the United States Corporation. So the United States Treasury own all of the banks now. Well, the banks got to close down because it's also been announced that we finna go to another currency, but it's going to be backed by a substance, gold or silver, most likely. This is going to be printed through a U.S. mint, not through the Federal Reserve. Right? We have to go back to the Republic in order to get back to the tribal. Because we got to go out the same way we came in.
Mm-hmm.
The Republic was hijacked by the bankers and the other linear royals, and they usurped the Republic and installed the corporation.